Ladies and gentlemen, I am doing this intro alone because this interview is me asking the hard-hitting questions to none other than my co-host, Don Swenson. Don Swenson, over the last 4 years, become a very good friend of mine, someone that I actually kind of look up to, and someone who's really made things happen here in town. He's given me a lot of opportunities to put on shows and do things that I've never done before and probably would never have done if it weren't for him. He's really someone who brings the creativity out in people and also a lot of times gives them a platform for them to express themselves. I could sing his praises for days. He's just an amazing person, and more towns should have people like Don Swenson. I hope you guys enjoy this interview as much as I did. So without further ado, please welcome my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Swenson. Mr. Don Swenson, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, so how long have we known each other now?
Well, we met 2020.
2020.
Yeah, like the second or third week of March in 2020.
Yeah, this is what's so cool about the podcast is, I'm going to ask you questions that if I were to just ask you while we're doing an art thing, you'd be like, why are you asking me this right now? This is weird.
Yeah. I'll answer anything you wanted me to answer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, he said it, folks. So here we go.
Yeah.
Don, do you like art?
Can't say I'm familiar.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like art.
Dude,
I like art.
I'm, you're my friend. I'm just getting to know you now as far as the childhood and what makes you tick. So here we go. Like, what was childhood like for you? Were you into art right away? Was it a way for you to escape? Was it just something you were interested in? What are your like earliest memories getting into art?
Well, I think I think I've always liked art in some way. My grandfather was a very talented artist. I remember being like 5 or 6, and we're just sitting around the dining room table, and he sketches a picture of me and my sister, and I have that picture. My mom had it for years, and then when she passed, she gave it to me. So now I have that framed, which is really cool. Wow. My sister has one too, but she got it when she was younger, and she colored all over it with crayon. So that was weird, but yeah,
a collaborative piece.
Art's always been there. Like I have early memories of painting with my mom in the dining room, like teaching me how to look at landscapes, and she'd help me out with art projects that were big. Because when I was in, I guess it was like 3rd or 4th grade, I did this like picture painting of a knight on a horse. And it was like the horse was all decked out in like, pageantry stuff, and the knight was pretty detailed, and like we did it all with tempera paint and magic marker.
On a paper? Or?
Yeah, on paper. And I have the picture of it somewhere, but it's one of those things. It's like I wish I knew more about like graphing out a picture beforehand, because I did it all freehand, and it looks like the knight's riding a Shetland pony. Like the legs, like halfway through everything got real small. So it's that's a bummer. But it's it was a big thing for a 4th grader to do. I stayed after school almost every day working on it.
I was thinking about sending you this video the other day. I was scrolling Instagram, and there's this video of this AI technician, whatever, and his daughter draws all these animals. So he turned these animal drawings into like real animals, and they're the scariest looking. I have to send it to you.
Yeah.
Your grandfather, was he a professional? Is it just something he did on the side?
No, he was. So he wanted, I think, to be an artist at one point. Like, he was super talented. His grandfather, or I don't remember if I think it was his grandfather, had been a painter, with like sign painter for the Buffalo Bill like Wild West show, and my grandfather, when he got back from World War II, was courted a little bit by the Disney company, and then didn't go through with that for some reason or another. So, this is all family, hearsay, rumor stuff. I don't have documentation of anything, but that's kind of what I know. And what I do know, for real, is that when he was a bombardier in World War II, and he was shot down right around the French-Germany border. And
Bombardier? Bombardier.
Yes.
Okay. Does it have to do with bombs?
He dropped bombs on German towns. But he didn't do very many missions before his plane was shot down, and he was taken as a prisoner of war.
Whoa.
And he had done some drawings there, and my mom, when she was doing some genealogy stuff, found somebody who was with him at that prisoner of war camp who still had the drawing that my grandfather did of him. So we were able to get a copy of that. So
was this pre-internet she did this?
No, this is probably about 7 or 8 years ago.
And you kept the art all this time? What were they art?
It was
drawings
it was a portrait of him as during World War II.
Wow.
So, so that was really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that he aspired for you to, or was it just something fun to do with you, or was he really trying to teach you so you can do something with it?
No, he really wanted me to get a government job. He's like, "Have you checked the post office? Get a government job." And, he was a lot more practical. He wanted me to have a pension and
dude had been through
stability.
a war.
Yeah. I mean, it was, he came home and bought a house for like, I don't know, less money than houses cost now.
Yeah.
But he worked really hard. Like he was a dental assistant for a long time, and he was the head of like the custodians for a school district up on Long Island, and he worked at that until he retired. And then after he retired, he just kept doing like spare like side jobs with like, he built benches for an ice skating rink, did lots of work on his cars.
Did he's still alive?
No, he passed away a long time ago.
Did he live long enough to see you become an artist?
He saw me. Well, they had moved out of Long Island when I think right when I was in college, or right around that time that I started college, and I remember my grandmother was at. I think my grandmother and my grandfather were both at my high school graduation, but I think since then they had moved down to Florida.
As one does at that age.
Yeah, and no, I don't think they even saw any of the success, or my grandfather never saw some of the success that I was having in theater at the time. So, I talked to him.
Cool. He inspired you.
Yeah. He's like, he's a guy just like anybody else. So there's some flaws, but he was always been like one of my heroes. Like I've always wanted to draw like him. It's interesting. My son Jack has a lot of that same style that my grandfather does. But I'm also more into portraits than Jack is. So it's like it's interesting that this flow of artists have been through the family. Like my mom was pretty talented artist too. So but she she started doing some graphic design once she was retired, and she was a performer for a number of years
On
after
stage?
high school. Yeah, yeah. She had wanted to be more involved with theater, but didn't really get into it. She was in a play in high school that was sort of transformative for her, but she never really moved past that, until my sister and I really got into theater, and she started doing stuff like my senior year of high school. Actually, the night of my graduation from high school, we went to go see her in a production of The Music Man at the Airport Playhouse. Yeah, it was real fun. She was really good.
It's funny. I don't know if everyone's like this, but I've known you since 2020, and I get these notions of are these ideas in my own head. I don't know why. I just thought Don probably had this family who thought he wouldn't be able to do anything with art and just get a real job. I don't know why I painted that picture in my head. No pun intended. But that they probably weren't as supportive, or I definitely didn't think that you came from artists. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's I think so. When I went to college, like my dad passed away after my senior year of high school. So and he kind of wanted me to stop doing theater and just concentrate on my artwork, but it was always a back and forth, you should practice your drawing more, you should get outside, it was always I was like, well, what do you want me to do? And for a while, before I went to Hofstra, I was going to a community college for a while, and I really burned out from doing theater because I was going to school full time. I was performing in a main stage show, rehearsing for another main stage show, doing show choir, and I didn't have a reliable transportation. So there were some days where I just had to stay at the college, which was an hour away from my house, and just wait for a ride either to rehearsal or
You were an hour away and you didn't have a car?
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Yeah, I mean, I had friends from high school and friends I met through friends from high school who went to the same campus as me, so we carpooled a lot together. But it would have been better to have a car.
When you carpool, don't you also have to do some of the picking up and driving too?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Rides.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. It was guys I was playing Dungeons and Dragons and role playing games with, and we'd hang out on campus in between classes, and then we'd drive home and we'd go hang out at my friend George's pet food store, and or go back to Carrie's house and play some D&D around the pool table. It was fun. But they're still super supportive. When I went to Hofstra, I changed. I went to school originally for I spent a semester doing communications because I really wanted to get into film stuff. And then I switched back to being an art major. And around my junior year, I switched to theater as a major. And I think it was the only time that my mom was really disappointed in my choices because she wanted to see me be an art teacher. But I wasn't into the program. It was just so much reading articles about what other teachers have done, and I really just wanted to get in the classroom and I want to see what you do as a teacher. I want to see how you write a lesson plan. I want to interact with students. I don't want to read articles about, casework and classroom behavior,
Yeah.
And maybe I should have stuck with it, but
I think that was pretty wise of you.
I made a 25 plus year out of doing theater stuff, so I think it worked out okay.
Yeah. I didn't like my education classes when I wanted to be a teacher, so I switched to communications. You learn more by being there and seeing it and doing it in
Yeah.
like a week than you do in 4 years of
For sure.
reading articles or
For sure.
whatever.
I mean, there's benefits for it, and I think there are people who really respond to reading those things and can like soak up those ideas. But I'm just in nature like a doer. Like I have to do things in order to understand them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Me too. When you were a kid, I remember this quote. I think it was a quote where someone said, I hate writing, but I love having written." I'm wondering, was it like that for you as a kid with art? Did you love the action of making the art, or did you just love having made it? Yeah.
No, I think I'm always in love with the act of doing something. Like I don't ever feel like a painting's finished, but I'm so at peace when I'm painting or drawing, and it's just like that's where I live. Like even when I'm designing sets and stuff, it's not about the finished design. It's about all of the collaboration to get to the finished design. Like I'll sometimes watch opening night of a play, but after that it's over for me.
Really?
Like, yeah, I don't need to see the thing that I made. I don't need to keep looking at it. You know, I like the making of the thing, and then it's somebody else's. It's somebody else's.
And you've always been like that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's some drawings that I find precious that I don't really want to give up, but for the most part, it's like you create a thing, and that thing is a part of you, but as soon as that thing is finished, it doesn't belong to you anymore.
Yeah, like raising kids and sending them off into the world.
It's kind of like that, you know. Like the amount of people who look at my work and have their own opinion of what it means and, you know, what connects to them. Like that's cool, you know. It's not necessarily the thing that I thought of, but it is valid nonetheless. You know, it's relationship.
Yeah, you're actually making them think.
Yeah.
As opposed to just looking, it's like they don't even give a crap.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, was it hard at all? Like, you know, the kids out there are playing football or sports or whatever, and was it hard being a lover of art and an artist? Or
no, I don't think it was hard. You know, I mean, it was harder the fact that I wore glasses and had an eye patch through, like, you know, like the first 5 years of my life.
Were you cross-eyed?
Yeah, I'm still cross-eyed when I get tired.
Oh.
Glasses help a lot. But yeah, I had surgery when I was like 2.5 on the same twitchy eye that I have. So, you know, jury's out on that one, whether that's part of it. But I think it's mostly just lack of sleep and stress. But yeah, and I wore these thick horn-rimmed glasses that I hated for years, and now I find that I prefer to wear them now when I'm, you know, approaching 50. And
you ever tried contacts? Or?
I did. I wore contacts for a long time. I wore contacts up until like a year or two after my wife and I started dating. You know, I wore those through most of probably from like 2007. Originally I just got them for performing in shows, and then I just started wearing them all the time, and it was great, except like I'd fall asleep in them, or like I was a bad eye care kind of person, you know,
lazy or forget.
Yeah, sleeping, you know, like, because for the most part, I don't, like, go to bed. I just pass out somewhere wherever I'm laying down. So it's not, you know, like, my eye doctor once said, like, you should put on glasses because you are definitely ruining your eyes. And I said, okay, well, all right, I'll wear glasses then. And I don't know. I feel like I identify more with being a person who wears glasses than I did before.
It's a part of you. It fits you well. You pull it off really well.
Yeah, I do all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you what happened to Lisa the other day with her contacts?
No, I don't think you did. Oh, wait. I think I heard a little bit about that. I know she went to the eye doctor. Yeah.
12 hours in a waiting room. 12 hours to find out there was no contact stuck in her eye, actually. But a piece of it broke off. She hates it, too. Every single, without fail, every night, she's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, gotta take these out.
Yeah, it's a huge pain. You know, my wife wears contacts because she just doesn't like glasses.
Yeah.
But she's like religious about taking care of her eyes, you know.
So as a kid, did you have other art friends, or was it just you and your art when it came to that?
So, yeah, I not until really 4th grade. I had a friend, Eric, who I met in 2nd, 3rd grade, and we hung out a bit. But 4th grade, it was me, Eric, what's that other kid's name? Alberto Fernandez, and oh my God, I can't remember that other kid's name.
You're turning 50, man.
No, it's bad. It's like I can see his face right now. And the 4 of us would like draw G.I. Joe and Transformers all the time, and make up stories, and what's his name? His last name was Garcia. I can't remember his first name.
Remember his last name?
Yeah. Damn it.
Oh,
I'll have to look through old yearbooks when I get home.
Okay.
But yeah, the 4 of us really, like, we were all in the same class, and we all really loved drawing. So we had this huge support system, and my buddy Eric, unfortunately we're no friends anymore, but Eric and I would draw all the time together and create things like all the time. All the time. Like we'd paint G.I. Joe figures and like to be different, you know, things, and we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we'd sew costumes like so that they were more like in the comic books, and you know, and then in high school, you know, we met this guy Bill, and he was really into drawing as well, and it was just I knew a lot of creative people. I was very fortunate to have such a huge arts community that was, you know, around me at the time.
So I was out like strapping G.I. Joes to bottle rockets and shooting them in the air. You were painting them up. What kind of stuff would you?
Oh, so with the old G.I. Joe figures, you were able to unscrew their backs, and there was like a little rubber band in it that sort of held everything together. So you unscrew the backs, and you could switch out the arms for them, and then we'd paint them to be like different colors, or make new G.I. Joe figures out of them, or if we could get the pieces to look like you know, different characters from video games and stuff, we try and get that together.
Cool.
So yeah, it was cool, and Eric really led the charge on that. He was really very talented with that. A very talented artist. He's still, I don't think he draws as much as he used to, but I've seen some stuff that he's drawn. He's still very talented.
As a child of the 80s, I need to know, like, what was your jam if you could pick one? Was it the G.I. Joes, the Ninja Turtles, the Transformers?
It was all of that, man.
Rainbow Bright. What?
It was especially Rainbow Bright, you know, like
My Little Pony.
Yeah. No, I'm not a brony.
I never heard that before.
You've never heard of bronies?
Brony.
Dude.
No, man.
Dude.
Was that a thing?
It is now a thing. I don't think it was a thing at the time.
Wait, hold on. In the year 2024, it's a thing?
It's a super thing. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, like Google it. Google it.
That's how I'm spending my night.
Yeah, yeah. There's like a whole culture of like guys who are super into like My Little Pony. It's I don't know. It's cool. I guess.
Kind of? I don't know. I'll find out for myself. I'll Google it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're not a brony. Am I going to become a brony if I go down this rabbit hole?
You might. I don't know any of their names. Otherwise, I'd interject. But, yeah, you might.
Yeah. I did like Care Bears.
Yeah. I used to get drunk and like try and do the Care Bear stare at people. Just me and a couple other fat friends would link arms.
Oh my god! Oh, I didn't realize you were that cool, man. Oh my! Yeah. You guys would just get wasted and try to Care Bear stare someone. Oh my god!
I'm dumb.
I kind of think you're a little bit cooler from this story.
Oh God!
Wow, I've learned a lot in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, but it was a lot of G.I. Joe and Transformers. I'm going to go back to there and skirt over the Care Bears. But yeah, is like all of that stuff, and like because I was really getting into comic books at that time too, so I had like
I was going to ask you about that. Tell me about that.
I had like every issue of G.I. Joe from issue 1 through issue 101 or 102. Transformers, I had everything leading up to about the same.
Man, those original Transformers were dialogue heavy.
Man, such good story. I have an issue 2 of G.I. Joe signed by Larry Hama, which I just love. Who wrote the original story? So and yeah, the Ninja Turtles. Like I was really getting into the Ninja Turtles comic book. Like they did a reprint. I think it was the 5th printing of the original issue 1 and stuff. And I picked up probably like the original run of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, probably around issue 23. It was like was Escape from New York, I think was the storyline.
I have it upstairs.
Yeah, I have so good.
Yeah,
such a good story at that time.
Yeah, a lot darker back then.
Yeah, and that, and I was getting into the Tick comic book.
Oh yeah,
love the Tick.
It was a comic before they made it into the show.
Yeah, before the cartoon, before the 2 live action series. Like it was a comic book by Ben Edlund out of New England Comics, which I think was his label. And the problem with the Tick is that like issues would come out when he got them done, so it wasn't
really
like it was hard to like. Is there a new issue out now?
Oh my gosh, that's torture.
Yeah, but they were so funny, so irreverent.
I should check it out. That one went over my head.
Yeah. I'll see if I could dig out.
If
like,
you can, I would appreciate it.
Just drop off a stack of books at your house.
Dude, I would love that.
Yeah.
I'm a big comic book nerd.
Sure.
I'm surprised out of all the things they've remade, which is basically everything, they haven't made a new Tick recently.
Well, it's, they've been trying with these live action series and they're not hitting the same way. Like the cartoon was just so close in feel to the comic book. I think the live action stuff is a little too grounded, Yeah, there are episodes that ring true, but other ones that just, I don't know.
Yeah, usually that happens. It was a big disappointment for me. I mean, how could they? Have you ever read Watchmen?
Yeah.
Oh, so freaking good.
Love
Did you
Watchmen.
like it?
Yeah.
My goodness.
I didn't care for the movie as much.
No, how could you pack all that into you would need like one of those Netflix 24-part series.
I think they're doing that.
Are they?
I think they're doing like a series of the Watchmen.
Whoa, okay.
Because I think the beginning of the movie was excellent. I think the casting of the movie was excellent. I had a problem with the soundtrack for the movie, and I think they could have kept it as supernatural as they did in the comic book instead of making it all about, Dr. Manhattan. I would have loved to see just tentacles all over New York
Yeah.
City. That would have been great.
Yeah. So good. What was your favorite? Oh, no. I want to ask this question. How come
Okay.
you never tried your hand at some comic book art?
I made a comic book with Delfino.
Shut up. When did
Yeah,
that
and
happen?
actually in college, I had done somebody was trying to sell a story, and I did an issue. The comic book was called The Illuminati, and there is a series called The Illuminati. I don't think it's by the same guys, but I met them I was a part of a science fiction club on campus. Yeah, shocker. And yeah, they're like, well, you're an artist. You interested in doing a comic book? And I did it, and it was a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, And
I think about that as I'm reading them. I'm like, God, there are 9 little pieces of art on here with the dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to place it in the best possible way.
And then I had written a series that I really want to produce one of these days.
Shut up.
It's based around. It originally started out as taking fairy book characters and using them as archetypes for characters. Like I had Little Red Riding Hood and Bo Peep and Goldilocks and the Big Bad Wolf and all of these fairy tale characters that were part of this story about cloning and family and reconnecting with people you thought were lost and stuff. And
wow.
I just haven't. I illustrated the first 10 pages, and then I started rethinking some of the story, so I stopped there.
You did everything, the penciling, the
I didn't
dialogue?
ink anything. I wrote the story, did the dialogue. I have pencils. I could show them to you at some point.
I would love to see that. And I love that idea too. I'd buy that off the shelf if I saw that.
But that's actually how I met Delfino. Was I moved to town, and there was a little art market in that small parking lot across from the Hamilton Arts Center over by Casciano's. And Delfino was selling some of his drawings and comic books there. Yeah, he was selling Klaatu Tales and selling drawings of I think it's Peregrine is the name of the space turtle. And we have a picture of that he autographed and is in over my daughter's bed still since she was born. And he was writing the series called Dances in Exile, which is just vast and so deep, and he's still working on it, and the pages are excellent. But before he started the original story, he was like, well, let's do kind of a one-off, like an issue 0 kind of thing. So yeah, he wrote it, I penciled it, and he did the inks and coloring, and we got a bunch of issues printed out, and it's also available on Comixology.
Wow. You ever think about bringing it? There are local comic stores that'll sell your stuff.
Yeah, it's Delfino's property,
Oh, okay.
I think it would be cool. It's nice to say but it took me forever to finish this issue because it was I'd do a couple of pages and then life would happen. I'd be have work commitments or whatever.
I feel like comics has to be that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's what you're doing, and when I think Delfino he'll work, but when he's home he's he's drawing a lot. So that's I think that's really, really cool. I wish I could do that as well.
That man with his stories and his characters and his art.
He's so talented.
He's so very talented. It's a damn shame that more people don't know because he could be up there with the greats.
No, I think people will know because he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talented. So, okay. You're an adult. What are the first things you're doing?
Thanks for recognizing
that.
that.
You finally.
I'm an adult. It's about time somebody recognizes that.
Time for your bar mitzvah, I believe. What were the first things that you actually made money off of? What were the first pieces or the first anything art related? And I know it's not about the money for you. You're a real artist and you've got the passion. But I'm just curious, like, what were the original things you're like, damn, I just sold something?
It was pretty recently, man. Like, I haven't really...
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really sell any of my art. I mean, I made money as a set designer. You know, I guess we can call that, you know, making money off my art. And the first time I made money doing that was 96, 94, 96. And as far as paintings or drawings and stuff,
Yeah.
that was 2016.
Wow.
Yeah, 2016, somewhere around there. I went to the Smithville Art Walk, and it was the first time I sold any of my work, and I had most of the pieces have sold since there, but I was doing like, you know, some paintings of Star Wars characters. I started my robot series around that time. You know, I also had like some merchandise like magnets and stuff that seemed to hit it off. A couple of prints of things, and yeah, it was.
Why did you wait so long? Why were early 2010? Like,
well, so when I was doing theater, it was all that I was doing, and like I got laid off from my job at the college where I was working, and that was 2015, and I was lost, man. I didn't know. You know, it was one of those things. It's like, you know, Jen and I just got a place together. We're gonna get married, and the very next day, I'm told you don't have a job, and I really didn't know how to process that information. You know, I found another job pretty quick, but it really started me questioning whether I wanted theater to still be my career. And it also gave me a little brain space to start thinking about art on a smaller scale, you know, and that's why I started painting, is because I didn't know what I didn't know what else to do with myself. You know, I was having trouble finding a job at first, and I think I got a job at Home Depot, I think, at that time.
Wow.
And doing the early morning, like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. kind of thing. And that didn't last. Oh, excuse me. So sorry. That didn't last super long until I got a job up in Ewing, doing like the theater management up there and teaching a little bit.
Do you have one that you love more than the other? Like, I often, because I never knew you during your theater days, and I just think of it as, you know, something you did, but you're this painter guy. As I talk to you more and more, I realize how much theater was just an immense part of your life.
Yeah.
Do you have one that you love more than the other? One you're more passionate about?
No. I don't think I'm more passionate about one or the other. I think I like to tell a story, And I am a horrible storyteller if you're asking me to recall like a funny moment. And it's like, I don't know when to end the story. So I just keep going. And then I'm like, and that's it. And that's what happened. But like, theater, I mean, the first play that I ever did was in 3rd grade. It was Johnny and His Magic Teeth, and I played Johnny, but I only had one line.
Really? You were the lead?
No, I was just who the story was about.
Were the teeth the main character?
The teeth were the I think mostly the molars and the bicuspids had a large section of the play. I mean, there were plaque monsters and stuff like that, and everybody had something to say except for
Evil
Johnny.
Cavities.
I remember going out and I don't even remember what the line was, but I had to get out in the middle of the stage and say like, well, I promised to brush my teeth or something like that, and then I didn't really do theater. I mean, I had sang with like church choirs and stuff like that, but in 9th grade, I had gotten onto the set crew for The Music Man, and I helped build some of the scenery, and I really got into learning about scenic painting during that time. And that summer we did Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and my friend Tony signed me up to audition, and I was like, so I got up and I sang, and I was cast in the show as one of the brothers in the show, and I basically had been performing at least several times a year from that point on.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer being the guy behind the scenes, making it all come together, or you prefer being out there on the stage and performing?
I like both. I'm really like a split personality when it comes to that. I love performing. I don't like to be the center of attention necessarily. Like, I like embodying a character. I like telling a story, emotionally, on stage with an ensemble cast. Like, I love being part of that. I love being part of a cast. But I also love the fact that I can take an empty room and I can build worlds. So it's I love just the art of creating, like anything that I do. It's just I want to make stuff.
I do want to talk about the stuff you make now and where it comes from. I'm just curious, like, you love creating. That's evident to anyone who knows you. Is there anything else that maybe I don't know about or that we haven't talked about that you love creating aside from your art pieces and theater? Is there something else that you've done in the past, or are those the two that have always been your things?
Yeah, I think those are the main two. Like, I've written some screenplays and some stage plays, and I enjoy writing. Had one produced that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So a friend of mine produced a play that I wrote for him down in Florida, and that was a lot of fun. I think I'm thinking about trying to produce it up here too, because it's stupid. It's funny. It's called Rex McKenna Private Eye.
Rex McKenna.
Yeah, it's a radio play that's made to be performed live in front of an audience.
A radio play? What is it?
Yeah, well, like War of the Worlds and like all those old timey radio programs and stuff. But this has a lot to do with an unexpected murder and a cat who helped solve the crime. And it's, it's wrote a lot of commercials because it was originally performed at a coffee house. So I wrote a bunch of commercials about, harvesting the beans from deep in the valley, nestled between two mountains, and it's like dumb like that Orson Welles Green Giant commercial. So I tried to emulate that a little bit. That was
I wish. I would love to be a part of one of these pieces you make, be on the stage performing it or do a stunt. I don't know, whatever. I'm all in with anything.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I would love to do something like that. And so now there's definitely a theme when it comes to a lot of your art that I've seen. I've seen a lot of the robots and some classic horror icons and things like that. Like, how did that start? Let's start with the robots part. How would you describe your robots work to someone who's never seen or heard about it?
Well, I had it actually. Sue Murder coined the term for me as isolationism. So it's all about, this robot character being in a world but not part of it, and it dealt a lot with me being a transplant to New Jersey and not feeling like I'm part of New Jersey, but just kind of going through the motions. Like up until I'll say up until about 2020, I didn't really have a lot of friends in New Jersey. Like I had like two friends I went to high school with, and then my theater friends, which I mostly, like, aside from one or two really close friends, like they were more just people I did shows with, not like people I hung out with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it wasn't until 2020 that I found my folks. Like that I spend time with people. Now. So, and that's probably why I don't make as many robot paintings anymore. Is because like I don't feel so alone.
So you were the robot.
I guess. I guess I was the robot.
Yeah. What were some of the pieces you made that stand out in your mind as the best ones, your favorite ones?
Lonely Robot 2, which is a robot sitting in a windowsill. It's actually all of the robots are from places that I visited. Like that robot painting, the Lonely Robot 2 painting, is from Batstow. I did another one where the robot's facing off against a train, and that was from the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum. And those are probably my two favorite ones. And I did one that is just labeled for Kaylee, and I did one of a robot sitting next to a cat underneath this tree in this sort of like imagined landscape area, and we did that for over my daughter's bed, and then it hung there for a long time. Yeah.
I don't know if you have an answer to this, but why a robot?
I don't know. I just started drawing robots one day, and I've always liked science fiction, and I always liked the idea of robots, like robots and androids, and what, all that stuff. And I don't know why I just chose to. I did one robot. The first one that I did was at a beach in, I think it was Cape May, and it's always a huge realistic landscape and then this weird cartoony robot in it. It just sort of is disconnected, but there,
So now that you have friends and your own social group, do you still feel like you're an outsider in New Jersey, or do you feel like this is home at this point?
Well, I've now lived in New Jersey longer than I've lived anywhere else.
Oh,
So that's weird.
yeah, that's a weird thing to think about, huh?
Yeah, but it's
Things go a little faster as you get older.
but it's like I think I'm more invested. Like, I'll still always be a kid from New York, but I'm more invested in my community now than I've ever been in my
You're
life.
a big part of the community.
Well, I like to try and be a big part of the community. Like, I think I think that we as Art Club have done a lot to keep art moving forward, or at least in people's minds, so that more art has come to town over the last couple of years. And I'm glad to have had a part in that.
Take this however you want, but I've always thought for a long time now, not always, but over the last 4 years, I've definitely thought you're definitely without question a big part of this community, and I definitely feel like you might even be an underappreciated part of this community. I know there's a lot of people who appreciate you and see what you do, but gosh, man, I wish I definitely think people should be singing your praises and making more note of it, because you make things happen. You go out there and you make these events, and you do make art around the town on a regular basis and give things for people to do and people to see, and I think it's fantastic, dude. I hope that you're proud of what you do, because I see it and I know a lot of other people do. But sometimes people don't get the praise that they deserve. You don't strike me as the kind of guy who longs for the praise, but you definitely deserve it. You deserve appreciation for what you do in this town.
Oh, I appreciate that, but yeah, it's not about praise. I mean, there's certain times where I'm like, I wish people understood. But for the most part, like, I just like, there is so much potential for like an amazing arts community here, and I wish some people could just let go a little bit, and just let creative things happen.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think there's concern about
Change?
no, I think it's more I think people are concerned about the economy in town, and I think there's a desire to promote the town and celebrate its history and its values. And I think there's a disconnect with what more art would do. I think we have pockets of some amazing art that is happening in town, and I think when we do events in town, I think Hamilton's does some great events, but as far as being an arts community, I don't know that we're there yet. And I can see it like peeking through the blinds. But I think if we are so I don't want to say afraid, but if we continue to hold on to the way things have been instead of embracing the way we can evolve as a community, I don't know that the arts will flourish here as much as just be part of the community.
So say, we're gonna be having a new mayor soon. Imagine it's me, and I'm
I imagine that every day. So.
There's probably a lot of fire and destruction along with these imaginations.
It's a madhouse.
The blueberries are on fire.
It's a madhouse.
But say I am mayor and I'm like, Don, it's all up to you, man. What do you want? What is this perfect world? What is this perfect Hamilton in the sense of art, the idea of the arts community being exactly what you would like to see it be? What does that look like to you?
More green spaces where there can be sculpture gardens, more murals on buildings, more murals on streets, on sidewalks, more places for people to just enjoy live entertainment, and maybe a gallery in town. I think we have a lot of businesses in town that that are like they make money. They're stable businesses, but I don't know if there's always like just a place for a good hang. And I'm not suggesting that we create a district for loitering, but just a place where we can share ideas after 6 p.m. would be great.
Yeah, I mean, even the third Thursday thing, like I think they're putting an end to it because like nobody was coming out to that. I mean, I guess people come out to the big events like a parade or something like that, but it would be nice on a Saturday night, like, oh, I'm going to the Hamilton Loop, whatever, and I'm gonna go there. And
well, I think that's I think the direction that the arts programming for the town will be going is in a way that's going to be more beneficial for to really be in at times where people are available to go to events. Thursday nights in the middle of the week like might be a little bit tough for people. Some people don't get home until after 6, and I think third Thursdays were a great way to get people out and about, but I think we need to I think the pandemic has changed a lot of the way people view their time. I think it's changed a lot of people's perspective on what's important to them and what they want to do. So if we want to engage with an audience, we have to find the new ways that they like to engage with content. So it's still fresh. We're still learning. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff that we're going to have to just try.
Do you ever think to yourself, like, oh, man, I'm so tired of fighting for this. Like, I'm just going to go to a place where it's already happening and be a part of that.
Yeah, I do. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, yeah, I do. Like, it's like my day, like for today even. Today mixed the episode that we dropped today because I was having computer problems last night, and the editing program shut down. Then I went to work, and then on my break at work, I released social media for the event that's happening on Thursday, which will have already passed by the time this episode airs, as well as advertising for the podcast that we released this morning. I answered emails throughout the day. It's started planning for 2025 arts programming with Art Club, and trying to finish up drawings that I have due for a couple of different things that I'm trying to get done, and then I leave work, and then I drive an hour here, and then we do this podcast, and I am thankful for it, and I really enjoy this time. But it's between my regular job and doing this, it's 16 to 20 hours a day. So but I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. Like, I can complain about it all day long, but when I complain about it, it's like, it's mostly because, like, I'm just tired right now. Like, I'm not tired of doing this thing. I love everything that we're doing. I love seeing people just interact with the arts in town. Like people come from all over the place to, like, they hear Hamilton's real cool. Like, let's go do stuff. Like, and I get to be a part of that. Like, what the hell am I complaining about, right? Well, it's just some days I'm just, like, I just need to just not be that. And I think that's okay, too.
So let's definitely end this on a positive. Like,
did I just bring it down?
I'm so depressed. No, I appreciate you being real about all that stuff, because I see it, man. I see you fighting the good fight, and it shouldn't be a fight. If it were up to me, it'd be like, hell yeah, this, and let's do this. Yeah.
It's not a fight. It's not a fight. It's a
work.
It's just it's a difference in understanding of what I believe that more art will bring more commerce to town. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we can't create art for commerce because they look and feel different. Mm-hmm. If we have a bunch of people on the side of the road just drawing and painting, that looks like it's a scene, right? We have murals on buildings, all of a sudden it becomes a scene. If we're trying to control the ways in which people create or express themselves, we run the risk of driving those creatives away.
Mm-hmm. Right. So what I was going to ask is like, you have done a lot of things over the last 4 years. Out of all those things that you have brought to this town, what are the ones that stand out in your mind as, like, if you take a step back and look, it's like, man, I'm really glad that this came to fruition, or I'm really glad this is there?
It's always something. It's like, it's not one event that gets me. It's like doing a gallery show, and then at the artist reception having somebody go, "This is the first time I've shown any of my artwork anywhere. Thank you so much for letting me do that." It's about giving people an opportunity to express themselves, and for people to see their work, and for people to create. like I've had people come out to like life drawing and how to suck at art and not be afraid to try, who are like, I'm not an artist. Yet an hour later, they're creating really good stuff, and it's not, it's not like something magical happened. It's just that they made a mark on a piece of paper. Like, it's just that they did the thing. That's like, some of the greatest differences between artists and non-artists is just that the artist did the thing. Like, people shouldn't be afraid to just create. Don't be afraid to show your work. You might not be in a gallery. Who cares? Like, be proud of it. It's like, I had a conversation the other night with my friend's mother, and she's like, I can't dance. It's somehow like the subject that, like, I used to dance a lot. It came up, and she's like, I can't dance. I'm like, yes, you can. She's like, no, I can't. I never learned how to dance. I'm like, you're dancing right now. And she's like, what? I'm like, you're moving to the music. Does it feel good? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, then you're dancing. Just don't care about what you look like. Don't care about whether it's like not a formal dance step. Just enjoy yourself. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's really hard for a lot of people to do, is get out of their own head and just have fun with it.
No one cares. No one like, seriously, like, if you're listening to this and you think somebody cares about the way that you're dancing or that you're drawing, and you think that you're going to be embarrassed by it, like, don't be. Express yourself in the ways that make you feel good, as long as you don't hurt anybody. And if somebody is negative to the way that you create, then maybe they're not part of your group. Maybe they're not your people. And that's hard. But the people that support you creating, those are the people you want to be around. The people that lift you up.
Don Swenson, it's been an honor and a pleasure, but me and you, we got to go out dancing right now, so we got to wrap this thing up, dude. You know how to tap?
I do. Actually,
little shuffle step.
I'm actually a pretty good tap dancer.
Shut up! I was totally joking.
No, that was kind of my thing. Yeah.
Hell yeah! All right, guys, we're gonna tap our ways out of here. Don, thank you so much, brother.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, people, we're out.